Hello and welcome to the latest edition of the Belle Epoque collection. Today I'm going to be talking about a significant work by one of Australia's greatest Impressionists, Emanuel Phillips Fox. Emanuel Phillips Fox was born in Fitzroy in Melbourne in 1865. He trained at the National Gallery Art School alongside contemporaries Frederick McCubbin and Rupert. Here he won awards for his landscape paintings. In 1887, he left for Europe and enrolled in the esteemed Académie Julian at the École des Beaux-Arts in Paris. Here he studied under famous French painters William Adolphe Bouguereau and Jean-Léon Gerome. During this period, he honed his skills at impressionistic landscapes and plein air painting, moving between artist communities in Brittany and then St Ives in England. Here he exhibited for the first time at the Royal Academy and the Old Salon in Paris, where he won the gold medal for his portrait, My Cousin, in 1894. He returned to Melbourne in 1892, where he joined the Victorian Artists Society and established the Melbourne School of Art, specialising in plein air painting and society portrait commissions. The school and its pupils were generally regarded as the second wave of the influential Heidelberg school of Impressionist painters, such as Streeton, Roberts, Conda, and his friend McCubbin, who had burst onto the scene a few years prior. In 1900, the trustees of the National Gallery commissioned Fox to paint The Landing of Captain Cook at Botany Bay, his most famous work. It depicts a stoic James Cook and crew as they take their first steps on New Holland in 1770. Now seen as a controversial work due to the changing modern perceptions of white colonisation, it is one of the most recognisable and historically significant paintings in Australia, and has been reproduced countless times in contemporary art and pop culture. In 1901, he left for England to complete the commission. At this time, he became a regular exhibitor at the Royal Academy and the Paris Salon. In 1905, he married fellow Australian artist Ethel Carrick, and they both settled in Paris that same year. They moved into a small studio in the prestigious artists' enclave at Boulevard Arago 65 in Montparnasse. Boulevard Arago contained a series of purpose-built studios designed for successful artists and sculptors. Their neighbours were influential French modernists Marie Laurencin and American Impressionists Frederick Carl Frascati, and lived very close to his old friend Rupert, who was one of Australia's most famous painters of the era. This was a very successful and prosperous period for Fox, who produced some of his best and most critically acclaimed paintings. His French period produced a series of stunning, impressionistic plein air scenes depicting the leisure and carefree lifestyle during the Belle Epoque era. His vibrant paintings of immaculately dressed women in Luxembourg gardens, Orientalist scenes in North Africa, summer bathers relaxing by the ocean, and semi-naked models are some of the most authentic records of pre-war life in Europe. In this period, models used for such erotic and taboo paintings were often anonymous working girls or prostitutes because they were affordable and they would cause much less controversy. This stunning intimate boudoir painting is titled Lady in Black Stockings, and it was completed around 1911. The sitter is most likely Philip Fox's wife, Ethel Carrick Fox. Phillips Fox was reluctant to use working girls as models, preferring to enlist the services of women he surrounded himself with, such as his wife, close friend Edith Anderson, sister-in-law Helen Irene, or even borrow models from fellow artists Bunny and Frederick. The fascination with intimate boudoir portraits came into vogue during the Belle Epoque era on the back of a wave of changing modern societal values, a renewed curiosity with depicting realistic, relatable, and even sexual content. This new freedom was a far cry from the classical, posed, artistic approach of presenting the female form of the previous century to a more voyeuristic, racy portrayal that was undeniably French at heart. The rise of modern artists in Paris tackling these themes inspired Fox to create his own boudoir series. At Belle Epoque, we have several examples of original works by this new generation of French artists producing boudoir paintings and prints. including the original mixed media, Jeune Femme sur un tabouret by famous French modernist and pioneer of the Fauves, Jean Puy, produced around 1900. We also have stunning erotic works by prominent French graphic artists such as Almery Loberiche and Louis Écart, all of whom were inspired by this boudoir trend of La Belle Epoque. Prior to the outbreak of World War I, the Foxes were forced to return to Melbourne in 1913. Phillips Fox continued to paint and exhibit around Australia, but his health deteriorated and he sadly died prematurely of cancer in 1915. Phillips Fox is among our most gifted colourists and figure painters, and he is one of the most important and influential Australian artists of the 20th century. His works are represented in all major national galleries here in Australia, but also in the Louvre in Paris. Works like these are some of the most sought after works in Australia, and we have one here at Belle Epoque. I hope you've enjoyed this edition of the Belle Epoque collection, and I hope to see you next time. Take care.